out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You're to the Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me. In effect, as always, I got my brother Easy Money up here. What's going on, fam?
Peace, y'all. What it do? Glad to be here, man. Always.
You already know, bro. I got my brother out at BK Vague with that nice Eagles going on. What's good, bro?
What up, man? Yeah, I listening to Kool G Rap in the morning. I just was energized. That's why I ain't do no work today. It was just like, make me do the work. You know?
Yo, bro, it's so funny you got that shirt on. I'm dead ass about to watch the Super Bowl. I was like, I ain't watching the Super Bowl in a minute. Let me watch it again tonight. So after the show, I'm watching Super Bowl again. I got my brother from the mayor. Yo, Cal, here's the wild part, man. I was with my man Bernard. I don't know if you remember Bernard from Morgan. We chopping it up with this couple, you know, the wife is from Queens. And I said, yeah. We started talking about Queens. She was like, yeah, I know some niggas who went to Morgan. We started talking. Your name comes up. I was like, yeah, my man. We was talking about margaritas.
Oh,
my husband was like, margaritas. I was like, my man Kel swears by it. She was like, Kel Davis? I was like, yeah, I told you he the fucking mayor. He the fucking mayor, Kel. I don't even know how these people know you. Sure they ain't even go to Morgan. Yeah, she knew you. So you truly are the mayor of Queens, bro, man. you your name comes up everywhere. For people watching who don't know, this man is the dude when it comes to hip hop t-shirts. Let's talk about this t-shirt that you got on right now. That's beautiful for today's show. Kel, you talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it. You talk about it first.
This is I'm drawing a blanket. Tenafly Airport, Teterboro Airport, New Jersey. The cold chilling. They flying out there. There's a crazy story about it too. I think King comes late to the shoot. He has a gun or something like that. But just the whole cold chilling posse all together for the photo shoot. It's a dope.
No doubt. That is off this right here. Marley's in control. You open up the insert, boom. You got the other view of the joint. You know what I mean? Crazy story about this. After this shoot, they go back to Marley's crib to record the symphony. MC Shan is supposed to go. Shan is like, I'm not getting on the song with these young boys talking about Kane and G Rap and all them. And people got to keep in mind, at that time, Shan was the man because it's like 86, 87. So Kane and G Rap are the young boys. So Shan don't show up, and that's how Master Ace get on the symphony. You know what I mean? Which is crazy, bro.
Crazy.
We've done what if shows like what if Shan does come to the studio and Ace ain't on it? Is the symphony still the symphony? You know, because I know people, Trey Lee, shouts to Trey. Trey feels like Ace had the dopest verse on the symphony. You know what I mean? So is the symphony still the symphony if you got Shan on it? I don't know.
Everybody got busy on that for sure.
Yeah.
Is this someone I could buy that shirt or you make that shirt yourself? I really like that.
Nah, that's the website. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please, man. That shit's fire.
Yeah, Kelv is the man for the t-shirts. But y'all know me. Let's get right into it. It's funny because Kelv, this show really kind of comes from you. Because a couple of eps ago, you was like, yo, I don't think G-Rap gets the props he deserves. And I was like, word? I was like, yo, I always hear G-Rap's name brought up. But this is what I realized. Sometimes you got to think outside your circle. I'm blessed to be around brothers like you three right here who have kids, who take good care of their kids. So when you hear things like, yo, ain't no good dads, you be like, what you talking about? Everybody in my circle is a dope dad. But it's your circle. You know what I mean? By me working in the hood for 25 years, it's a lot of dads out there that ain't dope dads. You see Easy's ill had the good dad gang. So you got to sometimes think outside of your circle. And when I started thinking outside of my circle and started looking on Twitter, I'm like, yo, you right. Nobody really be talking about G Rap. And then what made this show happen was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, a boy was on Twitter and he was like, yo, who better, Pun or G Rap? And I'm like, yo, Pun is G Rap's son. Like, what is you talking about? Who's better? And then that was just like it was like, yo, it's that time. So if you rock with Apartment 5B, we always do these salute shows. We want to make sure MCs are getting their love. So Cal, good looking for that. So you already know we are saluting Kool G Rap tonight. We are looking at the first time you heard G Rap. Top 5 favorite G Rap albums, verses, guest features, best albums, slept on joints, just everything. If you know nothing about G Rap, you will learn a lot. If you're a G Rap fan, you will be reminiscing with us all night. Trust me, it's going to be a dope show. So we're going to set it off like this. When is the first time you heard G Rap? For me, the first time I heard G Rap, I mean, it had to be Power 99 in Philly. You know what I mean? Or here's the other wild part. It could have been because I spent every summer in Brooklyn, because it could have been Mr. Magic or Red Alert. I can't remember, but I remember hearing it's a demo. And I thought it was cool. I was like, this is cool. It's a dope joint. Then I remember hearing Poison. And I was like, yo, this shit crazy. And by the time Road to the Riches hit, it was a rap. It was like, this dude is a fucking incredible. This is just, and I sometimes think that momentum, especially back in the 80s, was dope. Like, it was like the build up to it. It's not like I just heard Road to the Riches. I saw the build up like that. So that was the first time I heard G Rap. And I mean, my first thoughts of him was like, yo, this dude's dope. You know, I'm a shorty, so I don't know what a lisp is. I'm like, yo, why is he rap? Like, what's wrong with him? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Eric Sermon had the lisp, but it was like, yo, I ain't even know what a lisp was. Truth be told, if it wasn't for hip hop, I may not know what a lisp is. Because do y'all know any niggas in real life with a lisp? Oh, y'all do? Okay. I don't know. No, maybe nobody in Philly got a lisp. I don't know. So I would have just been asked out. So, but that was the first thing, and I just was like, yo, this dude. By the time Road to the Riches came, I was like, yeah, this dude is dope. This dude is dope. And we'll get into a whole nother conversation about that later. But yeah, my first instincts was this dude was dope. Easy. What about you? What's the first time you heard G Rap, and what'd you think? Like, first impressions?
You know me, I'm a little younger, so for my recollection, I'm pretty sure it was Fast Life. Because you know that was so Nas, you know yeah. So my brother-in-law, he Jose, shout out to Jose, he's like my hip hop OG. They would you know, him and my sister would you know, always call me to babysit my niece while they went out. And he had all the cassettes, all the CDs, you know. And I was always one of them cats that would tap into all that. So from what I remember, Fast Life was on all the mixtapes. Yep. You know, so that to my recollection, you know what I'm saying? That's I don't have a distinct oh my God, this is it. But that is pretty much what it was. And you know, this is the record with Nas. So my initial thought was like, this shit sounded like God featuring Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was really that serious. Like, you know, this G Rap and this particular Nas, like these two in this particular time, in this era, literally sounded like that. So that was my first impression. Shout out to my bro Buck Wild too on that classic track right there. Yeah.
But first impression was what? He was dope. He was nice. Like, it was
God featuring Jesus Christ.
Okay.
You know what I mean? All right. That was my first impression.
That's it. Cal, Queens representative. What about you, bro?
The first time, it's funny you said it with if it was Mr. Magic. I think I first heard G Rap on. There's a station that came up in Vegas. I remember a little bit. 92 KTU. Excuse me. 92 KTU. They were like an upstart. They were trying to rival BLS and Kiss and stuff like that. And they got like this DJ from Hot Tracks back in the day. His name was Carlos De Jesus. He was like a DJ, but he was like a radio personality too. And they were trying to catch all, you know, trying to release all the new joints and stuff. But so they released. I heard Raw first with Kane, and then they played G Rap. They're like, oh, this is label made. They played it's a demo, and then same thing like You Kill. Poison came. That demo was dope. Then Poison came. I was like,
right,
this is crazy. And I love Raw. I was like, yo, he just as ill as Kane. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah, all right, no doubt. Veg, what about you, Veg?
Probably the same thing. It was either Red. It might have been Red Alert. But yeah, I heard it's a demo, and I didn't know who was rapping. Right, I didn't know it was Kool G Rap, because back then with those hip hop radio stations, unless it was Mr. Magic, they didn't always back sell. You know what I'm saying? To let you know what you heard. So I knew the title, and it wasn't until, like you said, you hear Poison, and you're like, oh, that's the same dude, and that was crazy. When I heard Poison, that's when I knew it was Kool G Rap, because then I was just thirsty, like, yo, who is that? And you know, I found out he was in with Marley Marl and all of that. But yeah, it was. I guess it was like different, because back then, even though I was of a certain age, I still was young to the point where everybody's kind of new. So everything is dope to me. Like, oh, that's dope. Who's that? That's dope. Who's that? So I didn't really focus on one person in particular, except for maybe Kane, because he was from Brooklyn. But yeah, when I heard that joint with Kool G Rap, you know, I thought he was nice, but it probably wasn't until later when I was like, oh, he's a pioneer of a sound at this point. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. Yeah, let's tap into our top 5 favorite G Rap songs. Want to take a minute? Definitely RIP to DJ Polo. You know what I mean? For people who may be wondering, because I understand, like, if you do research on G Rap, you have Kool G Rap and Polo, and then you have Kool G Rap. So for some of the younger people who may be out there who may not know, Kool G Rap and Polo, of course, Polo was a DJ. G Rap was the MC. In the 80s. You had to have a DJ. That was just part of the brand. Like, you couldn't just be, I don't know if it was too many. There were a couple. At OG, that was probably like 90, but usually in the 80s you had to have a DJ. So RIP to DJ Polo, definitely on that. We're gonna talk about a little bit more about how that breakup came, but definitely wanted to salute Polo for that. Top 5 G Rap songs. We're gonna give one a piece and just go around. For me, when I knew G Rap was not fucking human, I'm in my man Scoob's basement on Providence Street in Philly. We're listening to Road to the Riches, the album, and Men at Work comes on. And the thing with Men at Work is, I mean, it's probably 110 BPMs. It's back when me and my man Nate was the tic-tac dancers. Here's the thing about me, y'all. I pick horrible names. Thank God I got better with picking names, with like Apartment 5B and Live from the Writer's Bench. Don't ask me why we used the tick and tack dancers. It's not even my fault. Somebody should have been like, that's a whack ass name, Kill. No, we gonna come up with a better name. So y'all can't even blame me. You gotta blame the niggas I was running with who let that shit slide. Men at Work, let me explain something to y'all about this. I never heard anything like this. Yo, keep it in mind for people who may not know, the average hip hop song is 16 bars. 16 bars, chorus, 16 bars, chorus, 16 bars, for a total of 48 bars. So your average hip hop song in the 80s was 48 bars. Your average hip hop song nowadays is probably like 16 bars, if we being honest. The first verse of Men at Work is 70 bars. I remember listening like, yo, when is this nigga gonna stop rapping? Like, we haven't even gotten to 70 bars. This nigga's first verse is almost double what the average hip hop song was at that time. The second verse is 30 bars. The third verse is 20 bars. The song is 5 minutes. So, I mean, that right there was when I was like, yo, I had never heard at that time an MC just spit and keep going and keep going and keep going. I mean, and the song was just bananas. So, I mean, for people out there who've never heard of Pete Men at Work, I'm gonna shout out MC Light, because she had a joint called Survival of the Fittest that was on the First Priority Basement Flavor album, when I want to say she may have done 60 bars. She may have done 70, I can't remember, but her and G Rap were the first 2 MCs that I heard do something like this. And again, they're not just rapping. This ain't rappity rap. This is like, these niggas are putting in work. And I mean, so Men at Work, that's one of my top 5 G Rap songs. Easy. What about you? What's one of your favorite G Rap songs?
I gotta stick with Fast Life, man. You know, packing 50 Cali's, rocking Lizard Bally's while we do a drug deal in a dark alley. You know what I'm saying? And this is, it's crazy because, you know, in this era, you know, Illmatic had just dropped. So Nas is M now, right? So the average person is listening like, oh, he going toe to toe with Nas. It's like, nah, man, Nas going toe to, this is Nas. We're gonna get into this later, but Nas is one of his babies too.
Right. Right.
So it's just that's a real true bar fest, and it's like we're very, a lot of people, they like to get at us for being harsh on this new shit and always comparing. His verse was better. Why you always gotta compare people? Cause this shit like this is the standard. That's fucking why.
Right.
You feel me? So G Rap A+, Nas A+. It doesn't get much better, bro. It doesn't really get much better.
Yeah, no doubt. Cal, what about you? What's one of your fave joints?
I'm gonna piggyback off you for Men at Work. I've said this on your show before. Run DMC is my favorite group, and so I think that I learned, obviously Rockbox and King of Rock and stuff like that. I learned my Adidas, and I was like, I'm gonna be a rapper. I'm MC. I learned, obviously their flow is a lot different. Hearing Men at Work, I was like, I can't do this. I quit. I retire. I can't do this. Like,
yeah. Running them a have you. This is no disrespect to Run. Running them a have you thinking you could be an MC.
True.
You know what I mean? G Rap, that next level, that it separated some people. It separated some people.
No doubt. I was like, I quit. Let me concentrate on this math and social studies and English, you know what I'm saying? I can't do that.
Word.
Do you remember where you were when you heard it?
It's probably Mr. Magic. Mr. Magic's played.
Okay.
Sir Juice. He played everything was Juice Crew. So, on the Late Show and stuff, I'm like, this is next level. This is next level stuff. Okay.
All right, no doubt. Vague, what about you?
For me, it's one of mine is Ill Street Blues. Like I love the beat. I love the way it starts. I love the piano. And one of the reasons why I love it, especially probably appreciate it more now than even back then, is one thing that Kool G Rap doesn't get props for is he's probably also the father of the way these dudes do storytelling, like Big and Nas, because this is one example of many stories, gangster stories, coke rhymes, whatever way you want to slice it. Kool G Rap was a master at that shit. It was interesting. Sometimes it was funny. Sometimes it was thought provoking. I always used to give. I mean, I still do, but I would give Biggie and Bad Boy props for kind of making it a cinematic experience. It's not just the verses. But then you go back and listen to some of these G Rap songs, and he talking about a car. You hear a car sped off, and you hear shots in the background. So he was doing it already. And Ill Street Blues is like a prime example. And what I like most about his brand of gangster rap, so to speak, or storytelling, he was always going up against the mob and shit. Not niggas on the corner, not the other block, not Bloods or Crips. It was Kool G Rap as a black man, I'm taking on the mob or I'm working with the mob. And I always just thought that was cool. But Ill Street Blues is probably if somebody wanted to start a kid of example of his storytelling, that's it. Because every time that beat drop, I'm like, wow, this shit just ages like fine wine. I listen to it today. And again, I ain't forget the lyrics. Shit just came right back easily. The feeling.
That's the wings in your shoes.
Yeah. So,
bro,
it's crazy,
bro. And again, Trackmaster's on that beat. You know what I mean? Trackmaster's on that joint. Yeah. And it's funny because we were just talking about intros. Because Vegas, as soon as you said Ill Street Blues, all I hear is the intro for it. You know what I mean? Right. So that's crazy too. My second song, Talk Like Sex. I'm gonna talk more about this song in my favorite verses because I always tell people, you gotta remember this is 89. You know what I mean? So everything isn't sexual on the radio. Everything isn't like that. Talk Like Sex basically taught me about sex. You know what I mean? There was no, this is the birds and the bees, yo, kill, come on, let's sit down and chop it up. Nigga, it was Talk Like Sex. Let me explain something to you. It's the wrong way for a kid to learn about what sex is from Kool G Rap. Okay, let's just say you're planting a lot of bad seeds in my head about what sex was supposed to be like. Because number one, the beat is crazy. The beat is stupid, and he's barring you, and it's like this is when it was like, and this is on for people watching. This is on the second album, Wanted Dead or Alive. This is when you start realizing like, yo, this dude is still barring you when he's telling you a story, or he's still barring you when he's talking about sex. Like, there are some MCs that they can put that bar work in here, but then, it may dip over here, or the storytelling is not as intricate. When we get to the verses, and I start breaking down some of G Rap's verses for Talk Like Sex, it's bananas. So that is definitely one of my favorite joints. Shout to Large Pro on the beat. We're going to talk about that Wanted Dead or Alive album too. Easy, what's another one for you, bro?
I got First Nigga That Read About It remix, DJ Premier joint. So what's very interesting about this joint right here, and this is more, newer G Rap, obviously, but a lot of the shit Vega was saying, man, like, when I think about what he was saying, and the entire conversation here, like the shit he kind of pioneered and all that, and I'm looking at this next song I'm about to mention, I'm like, yo, this kind of, it all correlates, right? Mm-hmm. He talk like sex, and on the song he says ripping the bitch tit out, like, you know what I mean? He's talking about all that, and the best part that about this is that this is the remix. Because he originally did it on the Dre, the NWA, Hello, started this gangster shit. It was on that beat. So I feel like he was kind of responding to that. Like, y'all started this gangster shit. I almost like, I started this gangster shit, right?
Right.
And, obviously, where it's not an original beat, it kind of falls into the freestyle category. And it doesn't give it the proper... you know what I'm saying? But then, Primo come back with a Premier remix, it's a whole different ball game. So I've always loved that record. I played that. That's one of them joints that I can't just hear once. I got to give it 2-3 runs before I move along. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's dope as hell. Cal, what about you, bro?
I got On the Run. Kind of like what Vegas said with
the OG or the remix.
The remix, the Al Capone remix.
For people watching, they both dope. They both dope.
Yeah, that remix though, the Al Capone, that joint is crazy. But just like Vegas said, storytelling, some of like I said, the car driving off, some of the baby, shooting. I mean, this ill. He's just lyrically just on another level.
And it's funny that, again, what both of you were saying, like, and it goes back to Kel, what you were saying, like, G-Rap doesn't get his props, because here's the thing. I've never, for the most part, ever heard G-Rap's name brought up in the best of storytelling category. When we talk about storytellers, I never have heard one person. So this is going to prove your point, Kelvin, what you said, like, that he's not getting his props, because I'm like, you hear the Ricks, you hear the J's, you hear the usual suspects. I've never heard G-Rap's name brought up, man. Which is crazy. I mean, it's a knock on me too, because I don't bring up his name. You know what I mean? So it's a knock on me. And this is why I also love doing these shows, because in saluting somebody, you also realize, damn, we did this with Hev. Like, we did a show with Hev, and it was like, yeah, why Hev ain't in our top 10 GOAT list? Like, when you start looking at all the accomplishments these people have, it's kind of like, wow. So yeah, y'all right. Hey, what you got up next, bro?
Same thing. On the Run, Al Capone mix. I bought the 12-inch because around that time I got a little turntable, so I was getting my wiggers on, and I was just so happy. Like, he had all these different versions, and they sound different, and that's an instrumental. But another prime example of storytelling. In a way that, fathered the storytelling you hearing from Big and Nas and Jay and anybody else. And it's really, when you think about it, when you think about the KRS ones and the Big Daddy Kane and Rakim and what they all brought to the game, and even though KRS-One was really good with storytelling, he didn't do it as much as G-Rap. And G-Rap had the wordplay with it. That's what made it so crazy. He wasn't just talking shit. He had the ill wordplay, the way he
Rap is rapper.
Yeah, like he was rapping and telling the story at the same time, and it was all believable. And yeah, we'll get into his technique a little bit later, but yeah, I love that song On the Run. It just kind of takes me back to that time.
Yeah, that's crazy. That all the joints was crazy. I was looking, shit ain't. I don't know where my shit is, but the next joint is Road to the Riches. And the thing about this song was, you hear the song, that piano sample is one of my top 5 piano samples ever. And again, this is '89. This is y'all gotta remember, there's no internet, there's no nothing like that. And I'm at my man Cool DJ Frank house, and I find out it's a Billy Joel sample, and that's what I was looking for. It's around here somewhere, but and that was actually like I think that's the first sample that I ever found. So because I love the song, you can only imagine me being like, oh shit, this is where he got it. Like, and even understanding, like, and again, for people watching may sound crazy, like, yeah, Kill, of course they samples. I didn't know where people were getting joints from. I ain't have no older brother who was in the park DJing and nothing like that. So it was just like, yo, this is a Billy Joel sample. I mean, to me, one of the dopest piano samples ever, and G Rap just goes in. I mean, it's Marley and G Rap. It's prime Marley and prime G Rap. You can't go wrong with Road to the Riches. So that's another joint. Easy, what you got up next, bro?
Man, I had Ill Street Blues and Road to the Riches. But I'm gonna go one of my favorite joints that I played a lot was Where You At featuring Prodigy. Little more modern as well. I'm showing my age here in comparison to y'all, but the Bink production, fire. I fuck with Bink heavy.
Yeah, Bink is dope.
This is also keep in mind, this is the time where G Rap is past his prime, right? When this was a time where G Rap really solidified himself to me as one of them ones. Not that he wasn't before, but all things considered, when you look at the big dogs, you got the Rakims, the Kanes, KRS-Ones, Slick Rick, right? And G Rap, starting 5. I call that my golden era, starting 5, right? At this point, G Rap is cooking all of them.
Yeah.
He's still sharp as ever.
Yeah.
And to this day, he still got it. But I remember this era. This used to make me think, because this is when it wasn't a great album, the Giancana joint.
Right.
Right. But he was still rapping at the Raucous joint, right? It was Raucous. Still rapping at a very high level. Then you got Prodigy, who at this point is rapping at a very high level, and he's just there's just no there's really no cooking G Rap, man. He ain't nobody really cooked him.
Right.
And I'm talking about later on where he's rapping with guys who were in their prime, and he's quote unquote past his. So this is the era, and this is what I really appreciate about him. What really, really, really makes him one of them ones that, if you heard him even like now, like last year, shout out my man Term put out an album called Time is Currency, and G Rap got a feature on that, and he sounds fresh as ever.
He's still smoking.
It's a testament to how timeless, and we'll get into all that because his shit is really timeless and one of the most influential flows ever, and that's just a further solidifies all that, how sharp he stayed over the years.
No doubt. This is the joint right here. My bad. Guys, shout out my man Demi D. He came down, interviewed me for his show. I never put these records back in order when he left. But this is the Billy Joel joint. So this is a sample for Road to the Riches. This ain't no sample snitching. Who sampled is out there. Ain't no, don't cast wildin' while you putting up records, Kill. Like, nigga, come on, stop. Like,
shout out
this
to Demi,
is it. So,
homie.
Yeah, big shout out to Demi D for this. Yeah, and like Billy Joel is one of my mom's favorite artists, but I was only hip on the Stranger album.
Dope.
So when I found this, that's when I really did a deep dive into Billy Joel. So dope. Kel, what you got up next, bro?
I got Streets of New York.
Such a slept-on song, man.
It is slept on. Yeah, but I was thinking about throwing it as slept on too, because people forget about that joint. But it's a different, it's a different pace with G Rap too. Same thing like jazz sample stuff like that too. But yeah, same thing, storytelling, just ill. Just he can just do it all. Just kind of like I think that's the one thing I like about the era of the '80s. You have versatility in your artists too. They can rhyme over anything, different styles, different styles of beats too. So just a dope record.
Yeah.
Yo, that's the one. That's the one where he said, "Daddy need new shoes, right? Papa spent all the money for booze, yeah. Heavy duty, heavy duty,
yeah." And again, Large Pro on this album. The album credits say the album credits say Eric B, but G Rap has come out and said Large Pro did this whole album. So definitely shout out to Extra P, Queens Rep, for cooking that up too. Veg, what you got up next, bro? You muted, bro.
I got My Life off of the Giacana story. This is later in his career. I remember, I forget what year that album dropped, but I think I was either hosting Strictly Hip Hop or kind of being a producer on it. And I remember when we got that song and I listened to it and I was like, damn, like, it's Kool G Rap? Like some new shit. We in the 2000s. Like, why does this sound, dope as hell? And it was the way he was rapping. The beat was dope. Like, it was definitely Strictly Hip Hop. That's like for the heads. But it was like a perfect single for somebody at that point in time to me to have records next to whoever was out at that time, and it just was dope to hear it. I mean, I used to run that shit back in the days. Like, I had forgot about it a little bit because I didn't own the album. You know what I'm saying? And one time on the streaming services, I was just going through a lot of G Rap, and that came up, and I was like, damn, I used to love this record. So yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites of all time because I could, like Easy said earlier, it's one of them records I could run 3 or 4 times in a row once I hear it once. You know what I'm saying? So,
right, no doubt. And the last two I got, we've already talked about. Ill Street Blues. Can't say not much more than that. Just a crazy joint. Again, I always tell people who always want to kill the track masters, your favorite G Rap song may just be a track master produced track. You know what I mean? We gonna get into the verse on that for some of my favorite verses. And then for number 5 for me is Poison. Just a crazy joint. That beat was crazy. This was at the time of them loud noises. Like PE had brought that in with the Bomb Squad, and Molly just kept that going with the Poison joint. And then just loved how BBD sampled that into their Poison. Just thought that was dope as hell too, which made me even love BBD even more because I'm like, damn, these niggas really fuck with some hip hop shit if you use the Kool G Rap, you know what I mean, on your single. So those are my last two. Easy, what's your last two for your top 5 G Rap joints?
Well, I had Ill Street Blues and Road to the Riches on my list, but
okay,
one song that would have made my sleepers that I'm gonna give a shout out to now was Money in the Bank. I always really appreciated Money in the Bank. Now, when I didn't really get to elaborate on this.
Right there, what's that? Money in the Bank.
There you go. Yeah,
Money in the Bank. It's one of my slept on ones.
So I didn't get a chance to elaborate on Ill Street Blues and Road to the Riches because y'all touched on those first. But
no, touch on them, bro.
No. I mean, it all ties in together with Money in the Bank. So, like I said, I'm younger, so this is me going back, right? I didn't get to absorb these albums in real time,
right?
The G Rap and Polo joints in real time. So I was going back, and what I really noticed about Road to Riches and Wanted Dead or Alive, them shits is so fucking funky.
Yeah,
the albums are like super duper funky, and I really feel like that's his element, right? Like you go to like that real, the real hardcore, all that shit he does, and he sounds great on that too. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like that funk shit was really like his lane and where he really thrived, and I feel like that applies especially to those 3 records: Ill Street Blues, Road to the Riches, Money in the Bank. And like Money in the Bank, who's on it? Large Pro,
Large Pro, and Fetty Fox.
Like it's one of them posse cuts that nobody talks about.
Bro, you in my head.
Nobody talks
Exactly.
about that shit. So I
Yeah.
definitely had to. I threw that one in there. Had to.
Yeah. Nah, that's dope. And this joint right here. Shout out to TCF Dances,
Yep.
Chosen Few crew. People don't even know G Rap had dances. Back in the 80s, I don't care how hood you was, how hard you was, you had dances,
Everybody
bro.
did.
You know what I mean? So definitely shout out to TCF crew. Cal, what you got for your last two, bro?
I got Poison and Ill Street Blues. So I mean, pretty much everything you talked about. We can go on.
All right, bang, what you got for your last two?
Last two, Road to the Riches and Fast Life. You know what I'm saying? That Fast Life joint was crazy. Like Easy said, like it was back and forth with the bars. Because Nas was the hot newness, but when I first heard that record, I was like, shit, G Rap verses is crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he showed up. So yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. We're going to go into what our favorite album is, but here's a fact that a lot of people don't know about. And I only know this based off of, definitely give props for props to do, Brian Coleman's book, Check the Technique. Very dope book. Did y'all know that G-Rap had to have brain surgery after the first album?
No.
This nigga had to have brain surgery. He had to have a craniotomy.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
Whoa.
Yo, here's the wild part. This was me being lazy last night. I didn't feel like coming up here digging through my books. I was like, yo, I remember reading he had brain surgery. I'm like searching it online. Nothing. There was one interview, but he only kind of touches on it for like a minute. So it's really in this book. And basically what happened, he said he used to always have like bad sinus infections and bad sinus shit. And then the sniffing coke ain't help. You know what I mean? But he was like, yo, he was in Jersey with the shorty. Head was just killing him. Flew him to the took him to the hospital. It was like, yo, we gotta do brain surgery on you right now. You know what I mean? And Fly Ty, who was the manager who owned Cold Chillin', flew him to New York to get the surgery done. But like, yo, the nigga had to have straight up and down brain surgery. You know what I mean? And he said, they said that if he went to sleep that night, he would have probably died.
Damn.
You know what I mean? This dude lost coordination of his whole left side of his body. And he was like, he writes with his left hand. So this dude had to learn how to tie his shoes again. He had to learn how to write again. They said, Polo said his head was so big, he looked like the Mets nigga, Mr. Mets. The Mets mascot. You know what I mean? So when you think about this dude, and the thing that's so amazing about that, you're saying from going to this album to this album, that this man had to have brain surgery.
That's crazy.
And learn how to do everything all over again, and you still come with this? You know what I mean? And G-Rap said he always joked like, yo, they put a microchip in my brain, so I just got doper. You know what I mean? But that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yo, who has brain surgery? Half people who get brain surgery are never the same again.
No, exactly.
You know, let alone like on some old just regular talking and having conversations with people and being able to get back to everyday life. But to have brain surgery and then you still, all these songs we talk, easy, you talking about shit 10 years after the brain surgery.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Let's do dopest album. To me, I mean, the dopest album, for me, it's just Road to the Riches. I mean, it's the foundation for me. It's when I first heard them. 5 Mic album to me, love this album. So this is like where I would always tell people, in my opinion, like you start at the beginning, start with the foundation with G-Rap with this one. Easy, what about you? What's your favorite G-Rap album?
So like I mentioned, Road to Riches, Wanted Dead or Alive, he's in his element, and I do feel like those are better albums, but mine is 4, 5, 6. And
such a slept on album.
I'm gonna give you a couple of the reasons that are very important with me. One, it's the evolved G-Rap style, right? Not rapping like the 80s no more. This is 90s G-Rap, and he really sound like God now, right? And on top of that, I got to enjoy this in real time. So the sentimental value for me.
Right.
I don't think it's his best album. Like I went back and I dug, and I do believe that, the first two are better. But 4, 5, 6 for me is just my joint. Cause from a rhyming perspective, I don't feel like it's really close. I just feel like, you know, the elevated rhyme style, the evolution was just way too much. And yeah, like I said, I really got to enjoy it when it was fresh. I didn't have to go back to it. You know what I mean?
That's such a slept on album. We're gonna talk about that album later too. Cal, what's your favorite G Rap album?
I agree with you that Road to the Riches is his best album. My favorite is One Dead or Alive. I just love the joint. I don't know, this from Streets of New York to
Yo, when you set the album off with Streets, Streets of New York,
yeah. Then he got racism that's it's different. You know what I'm saying? Then got Talk Like Sex. I mean, Bad to the Bone. Cool as Bad. I mean, it's just Jive Talk. I love Jive Talk. This is a dope album.
And Kel, here's the thing that a lot of people don't talk about, but for people who may not know, everybody on Kel's shirt, that was the Juice Crew. The producer was Marley Marl. We talk about what happens with Black Moon and, Smith & Wesson when the beat mine is split. You talk about Wu-Tang when after they lose RZA. Yo, this is all Marley. This is zero Marley. You know what I mean? Like, that's the bounce back from that. You leave the dopest producer at the time. You feel like, you should take a dip. You know what I mean? Like, and he didn't. Not one bit, which is, again, why I want to keep shouting out Large Professor, because that's heavy shoes to fill. And I want to say Paul may have only been 17 to 18 producing this album.
I think you're right. Yeah. He's like,
which is insanity. You know what I mean? So that's just
Large
crazy.
One of them ones, man.
That's
one of them ones, bro. You know?
You know what I mean? And I want to make sure that he gets his props because that's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do. Big.
Every time I run into that dude, I give him, I give it up to him every single time.
The thing about Paul to me is he's the walking embodiment of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like he's hip hop. Like, that's what it is. He's not just a producer. He's hip hop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, he still talk hip hop. Like, that dude is like, that dude is like, it is 1991 and that nigga, and it's not a negative he's stuck. It's a beautiful he's stuck. Like, he just embodies that. And I love it. You know what I mean?
Hip hop keeps all of us young, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody here young, man. Look at us, bro. Ain't none of us worn down. Hip hop young. And he really is the embodiment. Like how he talk is like he never turns it off. Easy breezy, what's up? What's up? You gonna rhyme? Every time he sees me, you gonna rhyme? Like I have to. What am I gonna say? No to Large Professor?
Right, no.
Like, I can't. You know what I'm saying? You can't say no to Large. All right, I guess so. So yeah, man, got to give a big shout out to Large Pro, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Veg, what's your favorite G Rap album?
For me, it's Live and Let Die, man. That was probably the first G Rap album I was able to buy with my own money. So obviously there's some sentimental value with it because it was dope at the same time. But yeah, songs like On the Run, all the versions were there. Ill Street Blues, Crime Pays, the sequel to Talk Like Sex, Fuck You Man. Like, because I was like you, Cal. I was like, what you say? Okay, this shit kind of brutal. But
right. Fuck, I guess I gotta try that.
Right. Other storytelling joints like Train Robbery, Number One with a Bullet with Big Daddy Kane. Like this album felt like to Easy's point, like how with 4, 5, 6 felt like he stepped it up lyrically to like another level. This felt like he was in between that and the OG rap style, because it's the sounds remind you of that time, but then there's certain records where you're like, damn, he kind of going crazy with the bars on this one. But yeah, I just love it because I used to play it to death, because you spend your own little $10 on it,
right?
It better be great, so.
Right. All right, no doubt. Let's go into our top favorite G Rap guest verses. So for me, it's Marley's Symphony. You know what I mean? His verse on Symphony. The Realist, Mobb Deep. And then Stick to Your Guns, MOP.
Go without saying, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
I mean, is that across the board? Do y'all got something different?
I got two of those.
What's your third? What's your third? Easy?
What's up, Kev? I thought Kev was
No,
saying
go ahead.
I had Stick to Your Guns. I had The Realist. I also had Big Pun, Wishful Thinking.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's another slept on posse cut. Be Real from Cypress was getting busy on there. You know, Big Pun. You know, you got G Rap, and it's kind of like almost like the Passion of the Torch, kind of.
Right.
You know, Pun took the G Rap style. You know, elevated it a little bit, if you ask me. But it was kind of like G Rap was like right there, like, go ahead, man. You know?
Yeah, that's dope. And Cal, what was your third one?
I got Class of '87 off the Tony Touch mixtape. With
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Tony Touch album.
Okay.
yes,
Cal
He
digging out here.
yeah, yes.
But I did have a honorable mention,
What's that?
and it's a legendary Street Team joint. Where MOP was on the Lyricist Lounge, right?
Oh,
And this,
shit.
you know, there's two
Okay.
versions. There's a one that's kind of weak, and then there's the Knots remix that's hard. But that's that.
What's the name of it?
Legendary Street Team.
Legendary Street Team. And it's a Knots remix too?
Yeah, that's the one you want to hear. Don't listen to the other one. Listen to the Knots remix.
All right.
Nas is.
So I can't believe it. Yeah, but I have to do one more honorable mention. I'm sorry.
Yeah, do your thing.
Frankie Cutlass, Know the Game.
Oh yeah, that's dope.
Frankie Cutlass, man.
Yeah,
Know the Game. Frankie Cutlass. That shit heavy duty.
yeah, that's
Yo, G Rap,
Duty,
man.
man.
G Rap. Vay, what are your top three? Or did you have two in a pause? Or what?
Yeah, I had The Realist, I had Stick to Your Guns, but I also had Cakes featuring RZA off of what was it?
That's dope.
Wu and Shaolin Masters.
That is, yeah.
If you haven't heard it,
What's that joint on?
Yeah, you gotta hear
Oh,
that. Story. Yeah.
it's like a Wu-Tang compilation with like
Compilation.
Wu and a lot of features, but it's called Wu
Cakes?
versus Shaolin Masters.
Okay.
But it's a song called Cakes. G Rap is fucking crazy on it, and this came out in the 2000s.
I just heard this maybe like a month ago
You see what I'm saying, bro?
on Instagram. I'm like, yo, what is this?
It's fucking crazy. I'm telling you, like everything we like him for, everything we know him for, like the wordplay, the breath control, like, and then that beat is so fun. Like even RZA getting loose on that shit.
That's the thing, Banks, right?
Right,
RZA,
like
yeah,
you listen to RZA, like, oh shit, RZA kind of getting busy. When
yes,
G Rap start running, it's like, oh yeah, okay, this the God right here, like this the other God.
Yeah.
I always loved that joint. We used to run that shit on Strictly Hip Hop any chance we could get. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, that's my third.
All right, we're gonna go into your top 5 verses or your quotables. The first one for me is Ill Street Blues. I think it's probably one of my favorite G-Rap joints. Up, and away, because I don't play clown. Buck, take that with you on the way down. Yo, the first time I heard that, I must have just go back. Like, you know, back in the old CD players, you used to kind of have to hold it down or it would skip all the way back to the beginning. But it was like, yo, that was so dope to me. To this day, that's still one of my favorite lines, because it's just like, yo, you gotta be kidding me with that. Talk Like Sex, the second verse. What I loved about it is Large Pro dropped out the sample and it was just the funk, ain't cool as back drums, and this nigga says, so if you're confused by what I'm screwing, let me explain to you exactly what I'm doing. Exploring your body like a biologist. Invent new words just like a scientist. Tagging my name on your ass just like a princess. While I'm hurting your ass just like a dentist. You're so wild I feel like I'm a zoologist. Stretching your shit more than a gynecologist. I'ma twist your ass to death, miss. And when you piss, you'll see more stars than astrologists. Now, again, I did that no justice. So whoever just heard that and they think I did it no justice. I'm not an MC, y'all. That's easy and vague over there. Please just go listen to Talk Like Sex, man. Like this, and Cal, you'll remember, and Vague, you'll remember this, and of course, Easy too. When Roxanne dropped, it was just like, I remember asking my dad, like, about the educated rapper, like, is all this stuff he's saying, or like the Dr. Ice, like he was saying, like, you got this, you got that. And my dad was like, yeah, those are real things. This took me back there where it's like exploring your body like a biologist. Like, it was just like, yo, this nigga is real. Like, G Rap is just on some next shit. The Realest, The place you put the nickel plate is to your face. Bullets ain't racial, they only hate you. Bullets ain't racial, they only hate
My
you.
nana seem like it's a time. My nana seem like it's a time machine. BC date you. That's crazy,
Bro. The third verse, Road to the Riches. A thug will bug for drugs. He eventually bugs, looking for crack on carpets and rugs. The squillers tell, but the dealers still sell. Little spoiled kids inheriting oil wells. Like that way that third verse started was crazy. And then my last joint, stick to your guns. You know, bucking on all you sucker clucking niggas who want the ruckus. There'll be 3 niggas clapping, but we ain't applauding you motherfuckers.
Oh,
Yo.
yeah, I remember that. Crazy.
It'll be 3 niggas clapping, but we ain't applauding you motherfuckers.
Yeah. He was.
It's just,
He was really like that.
Yo. And again, this is 96. For people watching, I want people to really grasp on this. Like, I first heard G Rap in 89. This is now 96. You know what I mean? Do you know how many rappers have come and gone between 89 and 96? Most rappers came out in 89 was already going by 92.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's 96 and we still ain't even got to the joints that Vague and Easy is talking about. So I just want people to really grasp what we saying, that when you come out in 89 and when you really fucking start talking about it's a demo, you really going back to 87, 88.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's 96, and this nigga is telling you it'll be 3 niggas applauding, but it'll be 3 niggas clapping, but we ain't applauding you motherfuckers. Like, come on, y'all. Come on. Easy. What are 5 of your favorite G Rap verses or quotables?
I'm gonna be completely honest. I think I might have overlooked this part in your text.
Don't even worry about it.
I'm gonna let y'all rock, but I will say, Mobb Deep, the realest, is just one of them joints. It's Inspector Deck on Triumph. It's that level. It's that level. Nas on Verbal Intercourse type, where this shit needs to be printed and hung in the museum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's really one of them ones. When it's like I'm very glad it was a quotable in the source, because I feel like that adds to it. Like him getting the quotable in the source makes us mention it even more, but rightfully so, because that's just a clinic in rhyming, right? And then it's like it's one of them joints where like there's not much going on in that beat, right? Realist, like open canvas, open canvas, right? And he just goes ballistic. And the craziest thing about that verse is that Prodigy went really crazy on that record, and no one seems to care.
Right.
That's
Right,
true.
because G Rap.
Never prejudge or be the humble that a squeeze. Yo, Prodigy got busy, bro. And it's just everything, the wordplay and the pronunciation. I full bid ya, bump heads with those that dump lead, accurate shot. It was just crazy. I gotta give a shout out to the Q. Speaking of Prodigy, QBG, the Funk Flex Live at the Tunnel joint that G Rap did with Prodigy, went crazy on that. And there was really a time where G Rap was like, he's got this style where he's like, how you talk down to somebody, he's rapping down the motherfuckers, like
Right.
Go sit in the corner. And there was a long period in the 90s where he would get on records with cats, like we just said, like Prodigy got busy on that joint. Any kids, stick to your guns. MOP, they was wilding on that.
Bodied that joint.
And it's just,
G Rap.
and he was doing that. He was on a level where he was just like, yeah, that was all right. But G Rap though, So I mean, and there's a lot. We could literally be here all night pointing those out.
Yeah.
So I throw QBG in there. What you facing? $150s and lacerations. What was it? The Live from the Streets, the Angie Martinez joint. It was Siegel.
I heard that joint.
Beanie Siegel. So Angie just does a hook. She don't even rap on it because she has no place, right? These guys, you to do the little hook part. So it's Beanie Siegel, who raps pretty
Right.
good.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Kissing Styles going back and forth, right? And then there's a dude named Brett on it who at the time was I think he was like a By Storm artist, but he was kind of like a
Right.
DMX ripoff.
The Trey
He had
Lee.
that DMX delivery, and then G Rap. If you heard it, legendary
Nah.
team,
Angie's album?
Angie Martinez live in the streets.
Rock the Street, okay.
Yo,
Okay, I gotta hear this shit.
he's really wilding on that shit. Definitely check that out.
Yeah. Cal, what about you? What are some of your favorite quotables?
So Stick to Your Guns is obviously like you already mentioned, and the Realist, and the Ill Street Blues too. I like two that are different from yours though. I like Don't Curse, because like I think you've talked about it before. You rap ain't cursing on his first album,
Right.
but then
Right.
Curse Up a Storm. But you know, you got, because you tell me don't curse, I reversed it and did it worse. First I put a curse in every verse. I kind of got it outrageous. Check it out, made a record how I'm doing it all. My BITCH's duck. It wasn't for the bucks. Every word that you heard is of course I don't give up. All shucks. I almost forgot the curse of the plot, but it's getting kind of hot. Time to let Franny retire. But if worse comes to worse, I curse you out like Richard Pryor. So I'm just, from Curse Up a Storm and other albums, from the saying so.
You know what I love about you saying that, Kel? Is I always say with hip hop is pre and post Straight Outta Compton. Before Straight Outta Compton, you don't see one parental advisory sticker. There's no curse words on this album. Second album, it's right there, that big parental advisory sticker. You know what I mean? So, NWA really gave hip hop the green light to just go at it. And I remember seeing Don't Curse on the Hev album, and I'm seeing G Rap, and I'm like, yo, how G Rap on this? So like you said, to hear that verse, like we was anticipating, like, yo, like how G Rap gonna sound? Because again, it took me years to realize he didn't curse on that first album. Like, I don't think many of us really even thought about it like that, because it was just dope. We didn't give a fuck if he cursed or not. But by this time with Don't Curse, it's like, yo, how? It was almost if like Sinbad was doing a comedy tour and he was bringing out Eddie Murphy, but Sinbad was like, yo, you can't curse. We'd be like, damn, but what Ed gonna say? Because all Ed do is curse. So what? So for G Rap to come on there and not curse and still sound crazy, it goes back to what I was talking about before with G Rap, where it don't matter what he's doing, bar work is gonna happen. You know what I mean? So I'm glad you brought that up, Kel, because again, I remember like, yo, how G Rap gonna be? Don't curse. Like, G Rap gotta curse. Like, what are you talking about? But then he still sounds crazy, not cursing, but then he plays with spelling the curses. You know what I mean? So again, it's genius. When he talks about the cool genius of rap, you're really talking about next level thought process, not just next level bars and next level lyrics, but next level thought process of how am I going to do this? Like, how is Eddie Murphy in 1990, prime, coming off of Raw, going to do a 45-minute set with no cursing and still be funny? Like, that's what G Rap just did. You know what I mean? Babe, what about you?
I had Don't Curse. I also had the third verse from Ill Street Blues for the same reasons you mentioned. I also had Cakes, and it's you could also find it on a Ghost Dog soundtrack with him and RZA. But I do got a couple of bars. I don't remember the flow that much, but the words speak for themselves. He said, yo, we divide cakes to rise the stakes. Me and my apes die for papes. Bust heat and hide from Jake. Up in the skyscrape, on top of the world. Back yourself against the wall. Gun brawl. Kid, I ended it all for y'all. Sun stopped the dough from flowing. Spotless rock glowing. Shots are blowing. Pop the C-lock. Rolling waistline and the Glock is showing. We keep it thugged out. Who not knowing get their knot blown in. Some shit like that. Well, he said Glock showing. We keep it thugged out. Who not knowing get your knot blown in. But it's the way he flowing over the beat. because you know with G Rap, I just read it like my first nursery rhymes. G Rap spitting that shit like rapid,
Right,
and
right.
you can't even keep up because you're catching the rhyme scheme, but now you also got to pay attention to what he's saying, and it's just crazy over that beat. Like again, if y'all haven't heard Cakes, y'all gotta listen to that. It's on streaming services and all that. Kool G Rap get busy on that.
All right, no doubt.
So I got one more. One more
that
I almost forgot about. DJ Muggs, Soul Assassins 2, Real Life.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another one right there. Go ahead though. I just had to throw that in there. I didn't want to forget.
No doubt. Slept on G Rap songs. For me, I'm going with Erase Racism. Kelby brought it up earlier. Again, this was like, I'm not used to G Rap being on some old, you not killing nobody or you not fucking nobody. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like Erase Racism. It's like, yo, this is dope. You know what I mean? Truly Yours. One of my favorite G Rap slept on joints that a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of people kind of started to give it love after Pete redid it, you know what I mean, on Soul Survivor and everything like that. But the OG Truly Yours was dope. Easy, you said it. Money in the Bank. Very slept on posse cut. You know what I mean? With Large Pro and Freddie Fox. Funny thing is, it's the first time I ever heard Pete Rock's name. Because Large Pro says my soul brothers is Van Poole and Pete Rock. You know what I mean? And this is 89, you know, so this is before the Creator. I want to say this is before Heavy D and the Boys, Girls They Love Me. Pete Rock and CL Smooth was on stage drinking Cisco. So I think this was, I can't remember which one came first, but it's one of those joints. Blowing Up the World off the 456 album. Buck Wild did it using the Bobby Caldwell, What You Won't Do for Love sample. Love that joint. And Letters off of Live and Let Die that Vegas was talking about. The Bing Bang Bang, just like the Ricochet Rabbit. Like, he just always had something that was in there. And the beat is crazy. Sir Jinx on that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Easy, you got any slept on joints? Or those are some of the joints you named for the first? Okay.
I do. I got a list. I did mention Blowing Up in the World. I do have that. I do want to say, and I actually, you know, I was listening to, I went back in past few days listening to all the G Rap shit, and I had to shout out to my man Buck Wow. I had to text him and I had to say, yo, G Rap needed to fuck with you more in the 90s, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, y'all needed to do more work in the 90s, you and G Rap. You know, so Blowing Up in the World, 4, 5, what was it? Blowing Up in the World and Fast Life, you know, 4, 5, 6. And it's like, Blowing Up in the World is definitely one of them joints. Again, I feel like they should have did a lot more work. That's another conversation. Hitman's Diary from Root to Evil. The very first joint is like number 2 joint. Hitman's Diary from Root to Evil. Going back to 4, 5, 6 Executioner Style. Love that joint. He's really going crazy on that shit too. I want to say that might be maybe that one then Blowing Up in the World, like front to back, one of his best performances, like just every verse going ballistic. You know what I'm saying? So and you know the knock with me on G Rap and a lot of his like latest shit is, you know, the beat selection. You know what I mean? When the beats is right, he's always gonna come with it, you know. And some of these beats are like, I thought Hitman's Diary was suited him very well. Executioner Style suited him very well. Another one from Root to Evil, Foul Cats.
I ain't heard that one.
Yeah, that's actually the same. I think Pete Rock did the same sample on Mike Geronimo's Unstoppable, if I'm not mistaken. The Marvin Gaye joint.
Yeah.
The Marvin Gaye joint. So Foul Cats. And rounding out my top 5 for the sleepers is Thug Chronicles. So with Havoc, this is the original joint, because you know they switched the beat on the G and Kind of Story and completely ruined the song. It's a horrible beat, to put it nicely. But you know, G Rap got these miscellaneous projects, like compilation projects on I stream on Tidal, and I was happy to find it. But it's under the name How It Feel. So you could find it under Thug Chronicles. If it sounds horrible, put How It Feel, and you'll be pleased. He's really going crazy on that shit too.
No doubt. And you actually just gave me another question for the panel too. Kel, what are your slept on G Rap joints?
A couple of ones that you mentioned, Truly Yours, I love that. It makes me think of LL, I Need Love, but it's the opposite. Complete opposite.
Exactly.
Execution Style, just like Easy said. Jog Talk, I mentioned that earlier. Rikers Island.
Rikers Island. Yo.
Love that.
I can't believe that's coming up
hard.
just now. Crazy.
That shit is hard. But yo, the crazy thing is that that's how long G Rap's his shits is. Like the bangers he had, that it could take an hour into the show for us to even mention Rikers Island.
You
know what I mean?
Yep. And One Is Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
What did y'all think of the Rikers Island remix?
I don't even know if I heard
the NORE album.
Yeah. Off of
he got G Rap.
It's Norville, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was cool, but it's not like the Rikers.
Yeah.
The real Rikers. The real. Vay, what's your slept on joints?
All right, one of them I talked about to death, Cakes. I also had First Nigga DJ Premier remix, which is dope because that shit just he talks for himself. Like what we're doing right now.
Look at this shit.
G Rap says all the shit we sing. Foul Cats, I had that down because off the Roots of Evil album, because the way he's spitting on that joint is bananas. Like from the first verse, he just goes. So I was like, this shit is crazy. I had two kind of slept on features he did. One was Fall Back on the Big L, the Big Picture album.
Big L joint, yeah.
I hate that fucking beat, yo.
Yeah, the beat is whatever.
But he was wilding though.
Yeah, no, he's.
I forgot about. I gotta pull this joint back out, man.
Yeah, some joints on there. And the last one, it's a song. I think it was like on an EP or white label back then. It's Saigon. It's called The Letter P. Saigon go crazy.
Saigon going in it too, yeah.
But when Kool G Rap started, like, oh shit, it's like Easy said earlier, like, okay, you're the kid, now it's time for the dad to go. And when Kool G Rap go crazy.
And what year was this?
That's like
this 2003.
Yeah.
It had to be 2 or 3.
Yeah, that was early. Yeah.
There can't be nobody else that been that good for that long. Can't be. Right? Because Black Thought, you can say Black, he came later, way later.
See, with Thought, we'll get into Thought later. I want to say, but Thought is not.
I love hating on Thought, man. Fuck that.
I'm not hating on
Thought.
I ain't fucking hating on Thought, man. But yeah, G Rap, like, I mean, that's a great point. And I mean, I forgot to even start the show off with when, like Jay says, hear me rap is like hearing G Rap in his prime. You know what I mean? And it made me then think about what Easy just said. Who else has been this great for this long? You know what I mean? So it kind of.
How long is his fucking prime?
Falls in, right? It falls into that.
What year was the first album killed? Like 87?
89. That's when the first album dropped. But I mean, Poison, the 12-inch started dropping in 88. Which means they were recorded probably in 87. So we could probably throw 88 in the mix just for, so you're talking about, 14 years later. You know what I mean? And again, 14 years in hip hop is like dog years. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, it's not this NBA shit. This is like, no, nigga, like 14 years is forever.
You gotta remember, an era is like 3 years.
Right. And if you're keeping up with everything that we're saying, no matter how dope the people who were in their primes were, somebody who wasn't even in his prime anymore was still the person talked about. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is another testament of it too.
Which makes you think, was he past his prime really?
There you go. Which I have a question for y'all. But slept on album for me is Live and Let Die. You know what I mean? I struggle between this and 4, 5, 6. But the reason why I picked this is because I think people do like 4, 5, 6, and then I think a lot of younger boys like Easy, like he said, that was his album. So I feel like for some reason with Live and Let Die, I don't know if him going to the West Coast with Sir Jinx kind of turned people off, because it's almost like the flip of Cube. Like Cube from LA, came out here to get with the Bomb Squad. So G Rap kind of flipped it, and I'm gonna go out here and get with Sir Jinx. And I really honestly think that kind of threw people, because I think Live and Let Die is a crazy album. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's dope as hell. I mean, On the Run, the remixes, Train Robbery, Straight Jackin', I mean, L Street Blues. But for some reason, I don't know why it didn't catch on like that. You know what I mean? So that's why I picked that one over 456, because I do feel like 456 does get its props, but I never hear anybody. We talk about L Street Blues, but I don't feel like we talk about the album enough. And to me, it was right. Truth be told, it may even be a little bit better than this, but I think this just has a more personal touch with me, just with Talk Like Sex. But very slept on album. Easy. What do you think is G Rap's slept on album?
I gotta say, before I get into that, my favorite part of being on the show with y'all is getting the real time perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all was there when he just dropped. I didn't play the shit when it dropped, these joints. So I love hearing that from you old motherfuckers. But yeah, I'm gonna go with 456. You know what I mean? Because I do feel like cats. I mean, it comes up, but I feel like it's more fast life, and that's it.
Right.
You know. Sometimes it's a shame, because he had the video. This was Rap City era with a video. That video got a lot of run. On the channels and shit. So I do feel like it's less appreciated as a body of work. Because the early ones, the polo joints, are held in higher regard, and they should be, because like I said, they're better. But I do feel like 456 can get, a little more love.
Yeah. Now it's funny, B, because when you think about it, like you said with 456, it's kind of left to just fast lane. I was talking with this boy today, this week, about the Slick Rick album that just dropped, that I'm not really a big fan of. And people, I see it on the timeline. Oh man, it's crazy. Ricky's rhyming like, ooh. And I'm like, listen to this shit. I said, nigga, what the fuck is y'all listening to, man? Like, what the fuck? Now, again, this is no offense. People may like it. It doesn't matter. But after, I started asking people, and I'm like, I'm not trying to persuade nobody. If y'all love it, love it. But I'm just asking, what do y'all like about it? And people was like, I like 2 or 3 songs, and it's a good album. And I'm like, but when did I said, I'm from an era where we didn't even talk about good albums. You know what I mean? The K9 Posse album was a good album, but we ain't talk about that shit. We talk about a song. We talk about Not Gonna Be Able to Do It. Redhead Kingpin's album was good, but all we talk about is Do the Right Thing. Like, when did we start talking about, I hate albums? You know what I mean? And that's what you're supposed to do with an album that's just alright. You talk about one song, but the problem is Live and Let Die and 456 to me are at least 4.5 mic albums or better. So why do people only talk about one song? You can't listen to 456 and just talk about one song. You talk about one song with an album that's just alright. You don't talk about one song on an album that could be a 4.5 or a 5 mic. I'm not mad at nobody who gives 5 mics to Live and Let Die or 456. You get no debate out of me with that. None. But then why is it that we only talk about the Street Blues? Why is it we only talk about Fast Life? You know what I mean? Which I don't know. But I just from talking for the past hour and 12 minutes, dog, I'll tell you this. G Rap, one of my questions is going to be, where is G Rap in your top 10 GOAT list? From doing the research for this show, the nigga moved up 2 spots on my list. Just from doing the research for this show, he moved up in real time 2 spots. So we got to start putting some pride. We got to start giving them, Kelv, you was right. We got to start giving them some love, because it makes no sense that 456 and Live and Let Die don't get more love, because they definitely deserve it. Kelv, what's your slept on G Rap album?
First, you said Red Kingpin. Is that Pumpin' Hottie? Is that the same album?
Pumpin' Hottie, yeah, same album. So Do the Right Thing. So he had 2 songs. But again, it's just the fact that, again, we come from an era where there was so much hip hop, and there was some good shit. King's Son had a good album, but that's it. We only knew a song. So to me, you can't have a 4.5 or 5 mic album. You can't have anything that's over 4 and just talk about one song. There's no reason that niggas are not saying 5, 6, 7, 8 songs off of 4, 5, 6. You know what I mean? You can't talk about 2 or 3 songs off of fucking Live and Let Die. You can't. You know what I mean? Now I do know and doing the research for the show, I do know that Live and Let Die got like not shelved, but it got like kind of kept getting pushed back because at the time it was supposed to drop. Cold Chillin' was going through the sampling shit with Biz, so that was happening. Then they kept trying to reshoot the cover. So the original cover was supposed to be them robbing a bank, but no bank would fuck with that. You know what I mean? Then another cover. So this is like the third cover that they got to. So it kept getting pushed back. Yeah, before Photoshop. You know, they was like, we really got to go into a bank, and they wanted it to be like the surveillance camera was going to be watching them rob the bank, and I guess no bank was with that. Then they want to do something else. And the thing is, on the album cover, these niggas got 2 DEA agents under 2 fucking dogs. You know what I mean? So I think that's another reason why this album didn't get pushed as much, was because of all the hoopla behind it with that too. So, you know what I mean? But Kel, what was you going to say? I'm sorry.
Live and Let Die is, I'm with you on that. And it's funny, like I said, doing research, even going back to try to listen to the album today, I can't even find my CDs. Like you told me to take care of my CD, I can't find that. So I'm on the streaming platforms looking for the album, and
it's not there.
It's not up there. So to your point, that is it all. That is slept on.
Yeah, I don't think any of the G Rap Polo albums are up there.
None of them are.
None of them are.
I was bumping them shits on YouTube.
Damn, I didn't know that.
I played those on YouTube in the gym today. I had to go. I played Road to Riches and one in the gym on YouTube today.
That's crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
They were up though.
What's your slept on? Oh, they were before?
At some point, yeah, because I played them.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Then, babe, what you got for the slept on album?
One thing about Live and Let Die, I remember when I bought that joint, my sister, who's like 8 years older than me, was like, "What you listening to?" But all she saw was the album cover, and she was like, "Yo, what the fuck are you listening to?" Just off the album cover.
Right.
And I was just like, "Hey, yo, you know, niggas is getting murdered and shit. It was G Rap, back the fuck up." I think for me it used to be 4, 5, 6, but I think social media showed me that there are more people who do talk about that album. But an album that I know I slept on because I guess at the time my attention was elsewhere. But Root to Evil is the album right after 4, 5, 6. We mentioned a couple of joints off of there, and when you think about some of those features that Kool G Rap had that we say were crazy, this was his album around some of those times. This is 98 when he dropped it. So Hitman's Diary was crazy, like we said. Foul Cats, this joint called Mobsters. He had a joint called Doug's Love Story, right? Which was him taking the story and the talk like sex talk, but not as brutal. Like it was dope. You know, again, G Rap looking to do something differently.
And he had like a 3-part joint on there.
Yeah, it was like 3 chapters to it.
Is that the one of Doug's Love Story?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a very dope album. The cover's dope, right? It's a little Scarface, a little Godfather on there when you look at the cover. But I think for me it was 98. When you look at 98, like what dropped in 98, my attention was elsewhere, you know what I'm saying? At that time. And even though I was a G Rap fan, I just didn't know what that would sound like. So I didn't rush to it, but later when I got to it, I was like, damn, I missed out on this joint. And again, a lot of people don't talk about it. So that, to me, that's a slept on album.
First time we heard Papoose too.
Yeah.
It's true.
Don't play that too loud around Kill though, because
I was gonna say I've been trying to get Kill on Papoose for 20 years.
Well, I've never really been a big Papoose fan, but it was just something that was the first time I heard him. And what stood out was I thought he sounded a lot like Big L in the beginning on this particular joint.
He does.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, Cal, that ain't never gonna happen. So here's the thing, and I'm glad I got 2 MCs up here and a nigga from Queens. Who did G Rap influence? Now, I would almost say who did he influence? My answer is simple. Anyone who got a deal or started rhyming after 1988, that's who fucking G Rap influenced. That's all I got. Yeah. That to me, that's just the moral to the story. I will leave it up to the MCs and Kel to talk about, Easy. If people watching don't know, Easy and Vegas, they both rhyme. Amazing MCs. Talk a little bit about who. You could first talk about who you see G Rap influence, but then I also want to know how he influenced you all and what you do. So, Ease, what about you?
I'm really glad that Vegas emphasized on the storytelling aspect, because when I was going back listening to everything, I said, damn man, we don't really appreciate that part of his game. I just wanted to say that before I forgot. But you know, Kill, you hit it, bro, like right on the head. He influenced everybody. Everybody got at some point in their career it comes out.
Right.
At some point the shit just comes out. But when you want to pinpoint like real specific ones, I mean, Big Pun, obviously, right? And this is from G Rap himself on Enhancer style, right? And you know, the G Rap style, for somebody who might not really get it, who's watching, it's really wordy, right? You listen to Good Kid, Mad City, and it's Kool G Rap with Bahamadia's voice all over that shit, right? So it's like that shit is still hitting.
Yo, why do I
let
this
nigga
on the show, man?
Yo, but I love that album though. Don't get it fucked up.
It's Kool G Rap with Bahamadia voice though.
Go back and hear it. Go back and listen. I can't remember who said that shit to me. Yo, I really want to credit the person who said that to me.
Oh my God!
But I'm telling you, dog.
I got you.
The point I'm trying to make is that, years and years later, and it's not in a bad way. It's just that
let me say that for a minute too. Influence to me isn't a bad thing. So I want people to understand that.
Not at all.
Fight and influence are two totally different things. You know what I mean? So I just want to put that out there that we're not saying like everybody bit G Rap. Is just saying you see pieces of their game. For niggas who watch ball, you see them videos where you see Jordan and then they show you Kobe doing the same move. Like, it's just little sprinkles. I think who was it? McGrady Kel was saying that Jamal Tinsley, Mel, used to play for Iowa State, played for the Pacers. He was saying he got a better handle than Kyrie. Kyrie said, yo, I'm not mad at that because I got pieces of all their game in my game. So it's not a negative to say somebody influenced you. Like Kyrie is saying, I'm not mad at that. I got a little bit of Mel in me. I got a little bit of Steph in me. I got a little bit of Rafe Skip in me. Like, so that's it. So sorry, he's go back to talking and shit.
But to be clear, Good Kid, Mad City is one of the more recent, like true classic albums. I'm not saying that in a bad way. All I'm trying to get across is like the wordy shit. You know what I'm saying? And how far it's carried. But you got Big Pun, obviously, who G Rap said himself, Enhancer style, right? I remember the first time, and I don't want to get off too much, but I remember the first time I heard Pun was that Flex freestyle over the Ice Cream Beat, Volume 1. And I thought this dude was a fucking robot. Like, this is not a human being rapping. It's crazy. Then I heard You Ain't a Killer. I'm like, yo, this shit's crazy. And that he's from the G Rap tree. You got to big up G Rap for that. Another MC who I hear G Rap heavily in, a little less now, but more in his early years, was my man Ransom. Heavy duty G Rap influence, especially if you listen to I watched when he recorded The Proposal with Static. I was there watching him record several songs, and I'm like, God damn! It's like the influence is just crazy. I mean, it's not anything that he denies. So I definitely throw Ransom in there. Early Nas. I always thought Nas was a G Rap Rakim hybrid. The ultimate MC, Young Nas, big G Rap influence. I think G Rap's influence is all over Reasonable Doubt. I hear G Rap all over Reasonable Doubt. You know what I'm saying? Saigon, Papoose, like it just goes on and on. I'll be here all fucking day. But those are the ones who really like. Those are the ones who I feel really modeled their shit after him. Like, right, where somebody like me who was heavily influenced by Pun, that goes back to G Rap, right?
Right.
My bro terminology. The joke is G Rap Pun is your father, G Rap is your grandfather. Like, it's a conscious effort. Some dudes they make like it comes out of everyone, comes out of me. I'm sure it comes out of Vague, but there's a conscious effort. These are the guys that there was a conscious effort to kind of emulate the G Rap style, so to speak.
Right. And Easy, what I love what you said is from the tree of G Rap.
Yeah.
So you know me, everything goes back to balls, either ball or hip hop. You know what I mean? So it's like the same thing. It's like the tree of pop. There was a while where if you coached under Popovich, they wanted you because it was like, oh, you come from that tree. So all the great Popovich assistants used to be getting head coaching jobs because it was like, yo, this dude Pop is like, this nigga's the one. If you came up under him, then we want you to bring that over here. So they had I forgot a long time ago, like a tree, like a lineage of how Pop is just all throughout the NBA. So I think that's a great way to say too, it's from the tree of G-Rap, where you get that Vague. What about you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, honestly, that's a great jumping off point for where I was going to go with it because I was looking at it the same way, but with three different rappers, right? Like one being Pun. Pun is probably the closest to that flow, to that wordplay of just matching these words. But like G-Rap said, Pun just takes it to a whole other level, especially with like the breath control, matching up the words, making sense, being humorous in the middle of something that sounds hard at the same time. It don't even as a listener, it doesn't even give you an opportunity to catch up. You instantly want to hit rewind because you don't want to miss no bars. And I felt like that was Pun's strength. But again, it comes from G-Rap. Same thing with Nas in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? Nas kind of had like the early Nas flow was like he didn't give you room to digest the bar before you felt like you had to rewind because you hear something crazy, you'd be like, oh, what'd he say? But he's already off to the next thing. And that's quintessential G-Rap. Like, again, you go listen to Cakes. I couldn't even say this shit because it's just too much. Like, yo, I can't be him. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy like that. And I think the other one, or the other major one, is Big. And that's more so with the storytelling. Because what Kool G Rap does well is what Big did well with the storytelling. They tell the story from their point of view, where a lot of rappers, and maybe most, usually tell it as a third party, like this guy and this happened and that's their story. But they insert themselves into the story and then they describe the scenery, the sound, what they're thinking, what those guys thinking, what happened. And in a lot of ways, it's like storytelling in a film because you need that character that represents the audience. So like, you figure out shit when they figure out. You find out who the villain when they find out. And I thought like Kool G Rap was cinematic with that shit, when you listen to his storytelling. And again, it doesn't get talked about a lot, but like you said, Kill with racism, having a song like that, I feel like as much as certain artists like to talk shit, like, yeah, why y'all trying to be John Gotti in this one? Well, Kool G Rap was just being a brother who was just going against whoever, Irish mob, Italian mob, and there go your black hero from the Kingpin side, and he was doing it before everybody. But one other example I wanted to give, just because his content is different, but when you listen to his flow, it's really kind of like Kool G Rap. It's Talib. He's a wordy motherfucker. Like, but that was G Rap. Like, you know what I'm saying? He not just gonna rhyme the word at the end of the song. Wherever he could put that word in that also rhymes, he'll stick it in there, and it's just seamless. So I think, like you said earlier, it's a tree of people influenced by Kool G Rap, and he doesn't get enough credit for some of the things that people call their favorite artists GOAT for.
Right. Yo, this is exactly why I love this show. My pastor told me, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. This is why I love the show, because I still learn shit. Like, I never thought about it like that, Vague. Like, it's the point of view of how G-Rap is telling these stories. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really is. I never thought about that. Easy. I'm not there's so many things that y'all are saying. That's why I always tell people this, you got to get, if you want to give props to an MC, you got to have some MCs around you, because again, they all speak different languages. You know what I mean? Like one of the things I'm trying to do, I need y'all to hold this to me. I'm gonna start learning how to play bass. I've been wanting to learn how to play bass my whole life. I'm gonna learn how to do it. So I've been watching all these bass videos, and it's funny because the bass players, they're talking a language and I don't understand nothing the fuck that they saying. I don't understand a word. You know, I hear the music, but they talking a whole nother language, and that's the thing. You can't talk about the greatness of an MC and not have MCs on the show to be able to break it down, because as me and Kel just being listeners, we're outsiders looking in on what's going on. Like I forgot, I think it was back when Royce started beefing with Lupe. It was like Royce, Lupe, Ransom, and RJ Payne was on a call.
Yeah.
And they was talking shit. I didn't know what the fuck. They was talking about, I need the double entendre. And I said the AAA. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck are these fucking rappers talking about? Like, I don't speak that language, you know? So, again, to salute them, you have to do that. But us listeners still have a voice, too. So, Cal, from the listener's perspective, who do you hear G rapping from some of these MCs?
I mean, pretty much everybody said Pun, Nas, Terminals. I get all that. The other person I can think of from a content point of view, I think of MOP and Mobb Deep. You know, just you know, G-Rap, gangsta lyrics, those two. You know, shooting, stabbing everybody every song. You know, I think like that. You know what I'm saying? But another person I think of style-wise is Styles P. As far as like G-Rap. I think kind of reminds me of G-Rap a lot when I have rhyme. So those are
right. Now, Easy, you gave me an idea, so this is going to be off the top of the head question right here. Because I agree with you. I felt like,
Kill, we forgot one very obvious guy.
Who?
AZ.
Sure.
Oh,
yeah.
True indeed.
AZ, bro. That's a
AZ
conscious effort.
Is from the tree.
No doubt.
AZ
Realizing the realism of life and actuality, like, come on, dog. Like, and it's all patterned the same way after that. The whole do or die.
Yeah.
Mad obvious. Mad obvious.
Yeah. You're right. And that's why, again, why I'm always saying you got to get the right people on your team. So I always tell people, and nobody works for websites and does that stuff anymore. But I used to always, back in the blog era that me and Vega always talking about, like, you got to have a whole team of people on your team. Like, you can't discuss hip hop in the way that you want to, and it's just all what I call civilians, just people who listen to music. Like, you need some civilians, but then you also need some producer niggas who can talk about what producers do and MCs that talk about what they do. So, tell me this, E, you had a great thing of calling, saying Buck Wild needed more joints with G-Rap, and I agree. It's kind of like the LL album. I thought LL came with it on the bars. Tip didn't come with the beats. You know what I mean? G-Rap always come with the bars that producers don't always come with the beats. So if you could picture prime and going into the 90s and into the 2000s, who would you want G-Rap to do an album with? For me, I would love G-Rap in the 90s to have linked with a 95 Havoc. That would have been my pick right there. Like, G-Rap with a 95 Havoc, who's coming off of the Infamous and moving into the Hell on Earth. Like, people forget about this. I was pulling Big L out, and people forget about this. Not every beat on here was great, but this Big Noise joint, Recognize and Realize, fucking Usual Suspects, it's some bangers on here.
When you said Havoc, I immediately thought of that bag right there.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what I would do. Easy, are you still staying with Buck Wild for yours?
I'm sticking with Buck Wild, but I think I like the idea of Havoc a little more. That's a great call, man. And you know, when you listen to like All Pro and shit like that on that album, it's like Havoc's Hell on Earth era was, you know, when he was doing The Promise for Foxy. And the joints he had on it was written. What he have live nigga rapping? What was the other one he had on
it was written
33?
Yeah,
the Setup, right? Setup is called.
Yeah.
That era Havoc, man. When you think, that's a real good call, Kill.
G-Rap on Recognize and Realize on that.
Kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Man, crazy.
That's what about you? Good call, Kill. You smoked that.
Good looking. What's up, Queens? What you got, Kel?
You know, I would obviously default to Havoc, but I'm gonna say DR period.
Oof.
Ooh, that's a good ass fucking
That
call.
would be fire too.
Ooh. You talking about probably 96, 97, broken
Yeah.
language,
Yes, bro.
VR
Yes.
period?
Yes.
Yeah.
To the
That's crazy.
death, even to the death.
Yeah.
That era
Yeah.
to the death. Yeah.
I remember for a long time people thought Primo did Annie Up, and I'm like,
That's
nah, that's
true.
DR period.
Yeah, period. Right.
DR
I can hear
period.
that too, Kel. That's a good one. I can hear that
That's a
too.
nasty one too. Vague, what you got, bro?
I'm gonna go with RZA. And I'm talking Cream. I can hear G Rap on
94
Cream.
RZA. 94 RZA.
94. I can hear him on Cream. I can hear him on Knowledge Guy. Like I can hear him on. I can even hear Imagine G Rap on Protect Your Neck. Like he got the bars and the flow for a lot of these records. Shit, everything y'all named also where it's just like I think he could have rocked with most producers, but those unique producers who have a particular sound that's probably closer to G Rap sound probably works the best. I really like the Havoc joint. Like that's
Yeah, the
Havoc
Havoc.
is number one. Havoc is number no doubt.
The crazy part is because, and I want people watching, because I feel like a lot of times people just throw names at it and they don't look at it from almost like an A&R perspective. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, Primo, just give him Primo. And I'm like, I mean, what fits. You know what I mean? 95 Primo is 95 Primo. Come the fuck on. But when I'm thinking pun, it's something about 95 Havoc. That it's something special about that Havoc of the infamous The Hell on Earth that was just crazy at that time. All right, so tell me this. What do we do first? All right, is G Rap a top 10 GOAT for you? He is for me. G Rap used to be hover around 7, 8. G Rap now is like 5 or 6 for me. From after doing this research, and y'all motherfuckers may have moved him up a whole another step just to align with this, because mine is Big, J, Nas, Rakim. Then it was KRS, Kane, and G Rap was 7. After doing the research, I was like, nah, I gotta move him in front of Kane now. And after doing this, I may have to move him in front of KRS. Like, so he's teetering. I can tell you this, he moved up. And my shit has been locked for years. My shit has been, this is just what the fuck it is. But it's just like, from everything that y'all saying, and it reminds me that, like, because I'm sitting here doing the notes for this show, and I'm like, you know what I got to stop doing on these shows? We talk about when the person fell off or why they fell off. And I don't want to do that, because if it's a salute show, I don't want to talk about that. You know what I mean? But then it kind of hit me. I was like, but did G Rap fall off? And if he didn't, then doesn't that mean I got to push him ahead of KRS? Because KRS fell off. You know what I mean? Like, so let's just say that he moved up 1. He's at least at number 6. He's no longer at 7. He's moved in front of Kane. He may move in front of KRS and be right behind Rakim, but he definitely is a top 10 GOAT for me. He moved up easy. What about you? Is he a top 10 GOAT for you?
Guys, please listen. Terminology, get him. It's called Get Him. This is last year. Features Kool G Rap. For some perspective, like still right now, this is last year. You know what I mean? Is Kool G Rap a top 10 MC? There's a bear shit in the fucking woods. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dog. Like, G Rap is literally your favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
Right.
Let me see. I got Big J, Nas, Pun, Scarface, LL Cool J. Probably go Rakim and G Rap right there. Yeah. You know, like, yes, the influence. You know, and I remember there was a big uproar on Twitter, and rightfully so. Somebody who's very respected in hip hop was saying G Rap was overrated, and I'm not somebody who really, you know, like I always say, you're entitled to your opinion. Sometimes, and I'm entitled to believe your opinion is trash, right? And I don't waste time trying to convince motherfuckers to agree with me and shit. But that kind of rubbed me wrong, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because anybody you name falls under the tree. right? I give
Right.
you Big J and Nas,
Right.
Vague. You said Big. I said Reasonable Doubt got shades of G Rap all through it. We all said Nas. Like
Mhm.
that certainly counts for something, for a lot. So definitely a top 10 MC.
I think the hard part with people, whoever said that he was overrated, I think the thing that, and I always challenge people, especially as old heads, to be mindful of our words. You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you, I may not like the person, but you go fuck with them. You know what I mean? I'm one of those few people on Twitter, I'll be like, yo, I may not be the biggest Cormega fan, but yo, I love when people like Cormega. Why? Because this is a black man. This is somebody who's living out his dream. And just because I may not like your music, I applaud people. I don't never want to switch people over. Like, that's what it is. You come across a lot of people who be like, oh, I don't like them. You should like them too. Why the fuck not, nigga? Like, I don't like.
You're hating.
Like who you
You're
like.
an idiot.
I like when people like what Porsche. Me and Porsche don't like half the same fucking rappers, which is why I wanted her to be the co-host, because the goal of this show wasn't to just spew what I like. It was just talk about hip hop. So I love the fact that Porsche talk about Pac, and Porsche talk about Quick, and Porsche talk about Blue. 3 MCs that would never be talked about on this show if it was just me. So I think that's the thing about it, is that even if you think G-Rap is overrated, it's like, yo, that's I just think people have to understand that the influence that they have. You know what I mean?
Dante Ross was the one that said it.
Dante, wow, that's huge.
He
That's
said
my
that?
guy, too.
Dante Ross said it,
too.
Nah,
That's my guy.
wow. That's shocking.
That's my guy. But here's the thing again. That if he thinks he's overrated, that's cool. You know what I mean? I think my only challenge would be like, but go check him out for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, just go check him out for yourself, baby. Because again, I think the hard part that we don't realize with music is just like food. We all listen to things differently. I love fried onions. I love fried onions on a cheesesteak. I will eat fried onions by themselves. Dead ass. I will just eat fried onions by themselves. Tanya can't stand the smell of them. Fuck eating them. She doesn't even like the smell. It's the same with music. Like, you may love your favorite meal. I eat steak. Somebody may be like, yo, Kill, if I eat steak, I'll be sick for 3 weeks. It's the same with music. So it's like, bro, I mean, somebody could say, hey, steak is overrated. That's cool. You know what I mean? Like, I love it, whatever. So I just think it's just being mindful of also the power that some of us have, because somebody will hear that and be like, oh, well, if Kill says such was whack, then it's whack. Like, nah, please go listen to it. Don't fuck me. I'm nobody. Like, that's just my opinion. Still go check it out and give him some love. Kel, does G-Rap make your top 10 list? GOAT list.
G-Rap has been in my top 5 since the 90s.
There you go.
He's been in my top 5 since the 90s. So I got him at number 4 for me. I got KRS, I got Rakim, I got Nas, I got G-Rap, I got Ella. So
there you go. And Vague, what about you?
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, we said all of it, right? Like, how can a guy with this skill level for the longevity he had also, which is not talked about, that influence people in my top 10 who get a hefty part of what they are, like their identity as artists. Obviously they're individuals, but he's the blueprint for it. Like, if I could say, like, Big Daddy Kane's flow is the blueprint for what Jay-Z's flow would be, or whatever, or like that style, you know what I'm saying? G-Rap gotta be in there. Like, he has to.
Yeah.
Because he had that influence. He was like, everybody like to talk about the coke raps and all that shit. G-Rap been doing that shit, like, long time ago, before it was a thing. So, yeah, and I get it as far as the, like, people having opinions on certain artists. I think it's, and I'm just giving my opinion, but I think it's irresponsible when you're talking about a pioneer like that and his influence. Because once you ask somebody like that, okay, who's in your top 10, they're going to say somebody who was heavily influenced by G-Rap.
Yeah.
And to me, then he's not that underrated, because at the end of the day, what is your rating? Do you not like him? Did Kool G Rap put you down or some shit in the club? Like, Marlon Wayne's in Above the Rim, like.
Well,
Right.
he ain't really shit on him either, so I don't want to. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
He ain't really shit on him like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I would never shit on Dilla, but I think Dilla's overrated.
Right.
In the sense that he don't belong way up there. You know what I'm saying? He's great.
Right.
It wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
there's one person too another person that we overlook that comes from the G Rap branch that I'm kind of shocked that we forgot too, and that's Black Thought. Everybody's fucking hip hop hero right now. You know what I mean? He's the Twitter darling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Black Thought is the Twitter darling. He is one of the branches from the G Rap tree.
Mhm.
Yeah, he'll tell you about G Rap too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I think the dope thing, and again, why I love doing these shows is just, I think what happens is, again, UMCs speak a whole nother language. So I think for a lot of times, if you're not in conversation with MCs, things get missed. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you a great example. As much ball as I used to watch, I would never, when I see the video that they make of Kobe doing all of Mike's moves, it becomes obvious. It's like oh shit. But watching a Lakers game, I'm probably not gonna put together, oh, that's Mike's fadeaway. Oh, that's Jordan's cross. You know what I mean? I'm probably not. And I don't know if the average, maybe the basketball head, I'm not a basketball head as much as I'm a hip hop head. So maybe the average basketball player can just watch Kobe and see it. So I think it is going to take shows like this for somebody to watch and be like I literally wanted to send this show out to all my friends, like, yo, where's G Rap on your top 10? Watch this episode and let me see if he can move up. You know what I mean? Or did you realize he does all of the shit that we talked about on this show? And I promise you, probably 90% of boys are gonna be like, nah, I ain't even realize that. What's up, Vay?
Yeah, because I think, like you said, we laid out a lot of the reasons why he's dope, why he's a GOAT or whatever. But I think one thing, anybody who may listen to Kool G Rap and like, I don't hear it, understand this from a technical standpoint, from not only from people who do it, but what he's doing, right? This dude has a heavy lisp. He's still able to articulate his words.
And brain surgery.
Right. And he had brain surgery, which probably enhanced him, because that album was like, hey, how he go from that to that? But, you know what I'm saying? He had this strong lisp. He's still able to articulate. He still has incredible breath control. He's rhyming fast in most occasions. You know what I'm saying? And he's telling stories. He's doing things that people aren't doing, and he's being creative. Like, he's doing all of this sometimes within a verse. And if you hear that and compare that to your favorite who may be doing the same things, right? Like if Black Thought is your favorite, then Kool G Rap deserves the same amount of respect because he's the pioneer of a lot of those styles. And some things that some people can't do. He has a heavy lisp. He like Biggie kind of had one, but some of that was weight. You know what I'm saying? And you see it when he raps. He has a huge lisp. To not get tripped up on his words, or they don't sound like he punching lines, and unless they just smooth with the engineering and shit. But he does that. Matter of fact, he did that at Hip Hop 50 when he came out. When Nas brought him out, it sounded like the fucking record.
I was just about to bring that up, Vegas.
What you gonna say, Cal?
What Vegas just said. I was like, Hip Hop 50 and at LL brought him out at Rock the Bell. Same thing. Mm-hmm. He goes on for like 15 minutes, just like he's like the record. Like, I haven't seen him perform anywhere, but he's flowing like he's been doing, like he touring for months. So it's just effortless. But it's kind of like even LL and Nas both like, hey, pay homage to this is a legend. So take notice, fans and stuff like that. Don't do your homework pretty much.
And I think what it could also be too, Kel, going back to your original point of G Rap not getting his props, is that I don't know if G Rap ever had that like crossover song. And I don't mean crossover in a bad way. Like Big Daddy Kane had Ain't No Half Steppin'. All the shorties love that. You know what I mean? I don't know if G Rap had a song where all the shorties love. You know what I mean? It kind of was like hip hop heads love him. you know, like I said, with all the hoopla with the third album, and then a lot of people I think just checked out after that. You know what I mean? So that could also play a part in, you know, why you have to have Nas and LL saying, give this man his props, because enough people don't do it. Kel, question, well, for all of us, but especially for you coming from Queens, where is G Rap in your top 5 Queens MCs?
I got him third. I got Nas, L, and G Rap. Nas, G Rap.
All right, that's so he's 2. Nas, G Rap. So he's number 2.
He's 2.
He's number 2. All right, I got him number 2 too. Where do you have him, Easy? Out of Queens.
Queens. Let me see. I got Nas. I got a little Kool G. I got him third.
Third. All right. And what about you, Veg?
Y'all know LL my goat.
I know, yeah. I know.
He number 1. Nas
Oh, you got
probably
LL over Nas?
I sure do.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about spitters because if it's
Yeah.
spitting, you know, the Nas movie.
Package thing, you know what I mean? I know what you mean. Follow.
G Rap might be 4th because I'm not just thinking about bars and shit like that. Because 3rd would be Run for me.
Okay.
Because I feel like he had a huge impact, but there's a lot of rappers from Queens, so just having 3 or 4 like that or that top 5, that's saying a lot. So he's definitely
it does. It is. Now tell me this, at the end of the day, when we look back and we want people to remember G Rap, you know what I mean? And again, we do these shows because it seems like folk only do them after you die. You know what I mean? So we want to, you know, we don't want to be that. What is G Rap's legacy? For me, he's the inventor of mafioso rap, one of the best to do it, and may have, and I'm gonna use Easy's word here, he may have the longest tree branches in hip hop. That there's so many people that are kind of cut from him. You know what I mean? So that to me is G Rap's legacy. Inventor of mafioso rap, one of the best to ever do it, and may have the most disciples of anybody in hip hop. Easy, what about you? What do you think G Rap's legacy is?
I've tweeted it several times. I don't feel like there's any MC who's been copied more. I feel like, you know, that flow has just been, you know, duplicated, attempted, you know, countless times. You can't even keep track. So it's that. It's like I said earlier, the longest tenor where he's just cooking shit, right? And then, you know, he's again your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. He's you know, what the first thing I thought of when Kill, which I agreed with, by the way, Kill, what you said about he doesn't have that standout record, so to speak, is he's kind of like hip hop's unsung hero. Mm-hmm. Cool genius, man, Giancana, you know? Yeah.
Great. Kel, for your Queen's brethren, what is G Rap's legacy, man?
I think like I said, the style change, multi-syllable rhyming, alliterations, you know, rhyming the same word, same letter of the words, you know, back to back to back. You know, in the 80s, I never heard that. Like I said, coming from, you know, Run DMC and Houdini and Furious 5 and Bad Boys and them, you know, just that, it was just a whole different flow. I think he just changed, you know, obviously Rakim's flow changed it too, but G Rap's was just so unique.
All right. And Veg, what about you?
I think right now, until maybe he can pull something off with this new deal, he's underappreciated. For somebody to have that level of impact on the game to where you even hear it in like Conway the Machine and like Ransom and people like that, and these are the guys now, and he's the blueprint. And the fact that he could still get on a record with them and cook now, he's underappreciated. It's like he's right there for everybody to see and critique and to discover, but they just don't really bring his name up because I don't think they get, you know, what he's done and and they don't draw the connection with who he's influenced. So
no doubt. Well, dope show. Prayerfully, y'all who are watching. Yeah, I mean, you learned something. Again, for the people who knew G Rap, I'm wondering. Definitely leave it in the comments. Hit me on Twitter, wherever, and let me know. Have we moved G Rap up a spot for you? You know what I mean? Because again, I'm sitting here like, damn, I ain't think about that. I ain't think about that. I ain't even think about that. You know. And again, I think. One book I do want to shout out, Ben Merlis, who's been on the show before. You got the joint right here going off. It's the history of cold chilling right here. It's a very dope book. So you see, it's actually the shirt that Kelv has on.
I need a link to both of those, man.
Yeah, I'll send this to you, B. But Ben was on the show before. Very dope dude. Very dope book. And this isn't just about the Juice Crew. This is about cold chilling records. So it talks about after the Juice Crew. It talks about Granddaddy IU, God bless the dead. It talks about Diamond Shell. It talks about the artist Genius before he became Jizza, all on cold chilling. So very dope book. So definitely want to shout them out. And I just think too, man, at the end of the day, and this is why I love the show and I appreciate y'all, man. Like, I learned a lot more about G-Rap, you know, because again, I love what you said, Vegas. Like, it's underappreciated. You know what I mean? And you know, it's kind of like they talk about in the book with Jizza, when you see that video, Kane leaving the label, it was like, yo, we need another dark-skinned dude with a high top fade to like be the ladies man. You know what I mean? And that's what Kane was. And I think that's what G-Rap wasn't. You know, G-Rap wasn't no sex symbol. You know what I mean? And LL was the sex symbol. You know what I mean? So when you sometimes like look at these things, even with Nas, Jones love Nas. You know what I mean? So I think at the end of the day, you know, it's like, yo, same with meth. Dudes love meth, women love meth. I think women play a lot to do with this. It's crazy because they do, but they don't. But they do. You know what I mean? Like,
women matter, bro. Women matter, bro.
But it's weird because it's like, but they do, but why do they? But they just do. You know what I mean? So I think with G-Rap having that, and again, Kelv, I appreciate you bringing this up because, like I said, I never thought in a million years that Kool G Rap was underrated. You know what I mean? Until you said that, and I was like, damn. And then I started really looking, and it's like, yeah, we gotta do something about this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's some crazy shit right now that this dude, and like Easy said, the fact that I think what's even more beautiful is how much the culture loves him. You know, how much terminology want to get him on a record in 2024. You know, that people still want to rock with him like that. And he's not getting smoked on these records. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's still toe-to-toe, and if he's not smoking the artist, which again, I'm just sitting here thinking like, damn, how can you not move up on my list then? You know what I mean? How can you not? So, Bay, tell them where they can get at you, good brother.
All right, you can follow me on social media at Vegas World INC. You can check out my podcast right here on YouTube called Hip Hop Now Podcast. Is weekly news and perspectives. I also did a review of Slick Rick's album, and I didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? So, and I had no reason to pull any punches. You know, I gave Slick Rick all the flowers in the world. He really only has one whack album, and he has 5 now or whatever. And to me, it's behind bars. And he was in prison for that. But I wasn't a fan of this, and I'm not a fan of following the trend of pointing to one song, The Document, and saying the whole album is hot because Nas is on it. Like, give Slick Rick proper attention. But to give him some props, which I did in the video, that song Landlord is like,
that's dope.
Timeless Slick Rick. Like,
it is.
Timeless.
Yes.
But yeah, so, you know, reviewing other albums, and also when it comes to the music, you can check out my catalog of hip hop on vegasworldinc.bandcamp.com, but also on streaming platforms. Me and Kill got 7 projects. The latest is Bed-Stuy Vintage, along with an EP, some boom bap. You know, I just put on a Yankee hat, pulled it low. I was on the unemployment line, so I was hungry again. When I wrote all of those raps was hungry raps. But yeah, you know, and again, G-Rap influenced my storytelling on a lot of my music also. So check it out if you get the chance.
All right, easy. Let them know what's up, man. One of the dopest MCs who sings too. You know what I mean?
Easy Money ST everywhere, man.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Cal, where you at, bro?
at Big Kev with IG. That's about it.
All right, no doubt. Y'all know me. I got to shout out my man, Apple, me and Kelv's brother. You got Apple Core, one of the dopest bakeries out here in the DMV, 6945 Oakland Mills Road, Suite A, Columbia, Maryland. Tuesdays through Fridays, 9 to 5, Saturdays, 9 to 2. My favorite is sweet potato cheesecake. Kelv, you cop stuff from there all the time. What is your favorite thing out of here?
The last thing I just brought was the Oreo crumb cake, chocolate cake that they have. It's like a volcano type of cake or something like that. But I bought just about everything in that store. The last one was there.
All right, no doubt. They got vegan, they got gluten free. Again, if you cop something and you don't like it, I will give you a free beat. You can't beat that. Like, just go through and you know what I mean? But you can't lie. Don't do that.
They ain't getting a beat. They can't lay it down.
Because you can't lie, man. Because here's the thing. You get a free beat and then you just gonna go to hell. Because I'm being nice, giving out free beats to support my man. You gonna fucking lie like, yeah, this shit was good, but I just want a beat. Nigga, don't go to hell for no fucking sweet potato cheesecake, man. Don't do that, man. So definitely 6945 Oakland Mills Road, Suite A, Columbia, Maryland. Check them out. They're dope as hell. Kill889 Twitter, IG. I will check y'all next week. Good week.